somebody brought up the announcers that we're dealing with now, and he just went back to 1990. I looked it up. It's not 30 years ago. It's not that long ago. You know, you had Lundquist, Madden, Brown, Cross, Enberg, Walsh, Nance, Brent. You had Jones, you had Albert. You had Buck, Aikman, Burkhardt. Now you have Buck, Aikman, Burkhardt. I wonder if the quality of announcers have gone down. Do you think it has anything to do with that red zone? Because I really don't. I mean, I guess if I was going to be fair about it, I don't really listen to all these announcers because I don't think they're that good. But because I just watched the red zone, I wonder if some of these networks aren't putting emphasis on the quality of the announcers. But, you know, if you look back, I mean, what happened? Nance and Albert, I mean, Lundquist, it just doesn't seem like they have.
I think there might be some. I'd have to look at the depth. I mean, the number one teams are the number one teams. You know, Nance, Romo, Michaels, Collinsworth, Buck, Aikman. The number one teams stand alone. But the depth could be an issue. I'd have to go by, Charlie Jones
you
and
get
Todd
the Jay
Christensen.
Feely. You get the Mark
Jay
Schwartz,
Feely's.
you get the Jay Feely.
Good point. Now, listen, you're also seventh. You're way down seventh on the depth chart. You're not. That's not the number 2-3 guy. I mean, you're way down on that depth chart when you're going to that level.
If you go down on the depth chart in 1990, it was Trumpy and it was Creedle.
Not seven, Mike. Not seven. I mean, Feely's their last announcer as far as game analysts are concerned. You're going. Trumpy was not number 7. He was not 7.
You don't think Trumpy was number 7?
No, he was with Cricky. Cricky. He was with Cricky, and for a long time, Mike, he was number 2 with Cricky. Long time. He was the second guy. Go ahead.
If you break down 1990, I mean, that's what I wrote the list down. 1, 2, 3, 4. Jones, Todd. You had Albert. You had Enberg, Walsh was number 3. Brown, Cross was number 2. I mean, I had him number 7, and maybe you could look at it. I don't know.
I'd have to go look at a specific year, Mike. Good call. I will go look at a specific year. In the 80s, you had. Let's look at the 80s. Number 1 NBC. They had Enberg 1 with Olson, and number 2 was Cricky and Trumpy. Now that's a great number 2, and I love CBS. Fox does not have a number 2 that's as good as that. Burkhardt and Charles Davis, and I just being honest. That's not Tricky, and that's not Don Cricky and Trumpy. I'm sorry, this is not. Don Cricky is one of the great announcers. Great, not good, great. And that's a hell. Cricky's a Hall of Famer. I mean, Burkhart's just he's sort of a studio guy. That's not on that level. Now, CBS is number 2. I'd have to look at CBS's number 2 in the 80s. Obviously, some are all Madden, which is phenomenal. They're number 2 in the 80s. It might have been Vern. I'd have to go back and look at who the number 2 was. It's a good call, though.